All right, we're going to open this up to questions from you guys. And you can direct it toward the panel as a whole, or you can direct it toward one person at a time. In order for, okay. In order for them to do their camera thing, they're going to put a microphone over here, so you're going to have to go up to it. It's not going to amplify your sound, just like it's not with ours. It's just so that they can record it. You can feel free to make a line, or you can just jump up when the next person is ready.
Okay, my name is Alan Woodrow. I'm chair of the Social Justice Council of this congregation. Thank the panelists for their views. I would agree with the education piece and the part about fighting against the criminal justice system and how it's served as a means of social control. I think those are very important. I do agree with Finley on the fact that there's going to need to be more broad-based worker, whether you call it unemployment council or something else, to fight for either a more inclusive form of employment, which may be 6-hour work days, it may be something else, some kind of, you're doing community service or something else where you're being paid for it, whatever. I actually think that during this century, we're going to see not only an issue of racist unemployment, but I would call it species unemployment, because we've had a loss of employment due to technology and automation, and they're projecting that we're going to get more into robotics that will be replacing, maybe 20% of the human workforce through robotics in this century. A lot more unemployment because it's going to spread. So I think it's going to be actually increasing the amount of unemployment among all races and more around the world as a result of that. And there's going to need to be some response to that in order to have people have a living. And whatever you come up with, there needs to be some kind of solution. So I guess I'm tossing that out for any type of response to how changes in automation, robotics, and so forth is likely to play into this issue of employment. This is for anybody.
Go ahead, sir.
Labor produces all value. That's a fact. Human labor produces all value. Somebody has to build the first robot which built the other robots. So all that means really to me is that therefore what we will begin to do is to let a new definition of work emerge. I will be kept alive to eat and have good food while the robot is doing all this hard work, and I will paint. I will write poetry. And I get paid a decent salary as the human person who is making this society continue, because the robots can't enjoy music, they can't eat good food. It's almost like a very sterile world that is being envisioned. Nor would we allow them to have another definition of the robots doing the work, and we merely are sort of slaves oiling the robots or giving them their digital whatevers. So either they will use this new robotic reality to give us the great leisure we human beings need to be more human, or we would have to have a revolution and take them down.
I think a lot of the unemployment rate and all that stuff is being created by the huge corporations who are going overseas and finding people to do the work for little, if not no money. You look at the steel industry over here, there's blast furnaces all across the world, and they're producing more steel in third world countries because somebody loses their arm on the job. They're not responsible. Throw them out and find a new one. So it's kind of like, overall, I understand the whole capitalism thing, but at the same time, it's like there has to be some kind of an innovation for human beings to grow and get better along with the changing times, and it's cyclical. During the Great Depression, people went through similar things to what we're going through now, but it's not as bad because we have more technology, more innovation, and we have more taxpayers that are paying for people who haven't been working for the last 2 or 3 years. And there's a lot of union labor people. They're not amped to go find anything else because they have somebody paying them on a monthly basis, and they're not even at work. So it's like there's all kinds of questions and stuff that need to be answered. But I do agree with a doctor about painting and inspiring and doing stuff. There's going to have to be something, or there's going to have to be a revolution, and something's going to take them down.
Next question?
My question comes from my belief that there are two real big problems in our society right now. One is a huge inequality in terms of our educational system, which impacts minorities in a really negative way. And the other one is this mass incarceration issue that you touched upon, which Michelle Alexander so eloquently and completely discusses in her book, The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. So my question is this. Has anyone looked at the dual effect of inequality of our educational system and mass incarceration of minorities, particularly on the possibility of it creating a permanent underclass based upon race, and try to expose the intersection of those two different things that I think really perhaps even are the opposite side of the coin in terms of what people are experiencing. Because you often hear people, for instance, like Jesse Jackson say, we can spend all this money instead of putting people in prison, educating them and getting them ready to be more part and participatory in our society.
Sure. That's a very important question, and it runs so deep that it's going to take a lot of work, because when you think about education and incarceration, or the criminal justice system and social control, well, in terms of capitalism, if you want to keep people out, that's where that scarlet letter comes in with the label of being a felon. So in terms of it being systematic, when you're targeting, black males or Latinos, for that matter, in the educational system, and we see a shift for those students being labeled ADHD or behavior disorder, and then they're shifted into a whole other type of curriculum when, they're not deficient in those areas, but because of their socioeconomic circumstances, they're kind of being pushed because of policy or lack of teacher concern. I know there are great teachers out there, but schools in our communities, they're just failing. I mean, we have to let's keep it real, that when you start criminalizing youth at an early age, because a lot of times, non-minorities, if they get in trouble, the statistics once again have shown that judges may, just throw the case out, or they won't even get charged with a crime. And as you said, that's what's been shown from the research, even in Professor Alexander's book. So I think the two go hand in hand, and we have to just fight the fight on both ends, that with educational reform. Also, everyone in this room, we can mentor youth. So, it takes the reach one, teach one ethic also on the educational side.